Shalom, everybody. It's the WyCo Nomad with WyCo Resiliency. We are in our faith readings today. Round 2. Begin. So we will be continuing with Genesis 11 and possibly 12 today. We'll see how it goes. I don't have too many notes on 11. However, that doesn't mean that there's not something that we can touch upon and look into greater depth. And yes, I know I'm looking around trying to find something. I got stuff on my glasses and I don't have any of my eyeglass pads around for cleaning my readers. So please bear with. Yeah, I don't have any. So let's see. Okay, that's a little bit better. So, get to the readings. Yes, Genesis 11, Bereshith 11. And all the earth had one language and one speech. And it came to be, as they set out from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar. And they dwelt there. And they said to each other, "Come, let us make bricks and bake them thoroughly." And they had brick for stone, and they had asphalt for mortar. Mortar, not mortar, mortar. Mortar, yes, the words. And they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a towers whose top is in the heavens, and make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered all over the face of the earth." I have a strange feeling that man is going to do something that Yah's not going to be too thrilled with. And many of you are like, well, I know what they're going to do. Yes, allow me some. Then Yah came down to see the city. Yah came down to see the city and the tower which the sons of man had built. And Yah said, "Look, they are one people and they all have one language, and this is what they begin to do. And now they are not going to be withheld from doing whatever they plan to do. Come, let us go there and confuse their language, so that they do not understand one another's speech." And Yah scattered them from there over the face of all the earth, and they left off building the city. Building the city. That is why its name was called Babel, because there Yahweh confused the language of all the earth, and from there Yahweh scattered them over the face of all the earth. This is the genealogy of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and brought forth Arpachshad. 2 years after it brought forth Arpachshad, 2 years after the flood. This is 11:10. Now we're 11:11. 11:11. And after they brought forth Arpachshad, Shem lived 500 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Arpachshad lived 35 years and brought forth Shelah, or Shelah. Probably Shelah. Phonetically, hooked on phonics. That's the hooked on phonics is not in the Bible reading, sorry. And after he brought forth Shelah, Arpachshad, or Shad, Arpachshad, lived 403 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Shelah lived 30 years and brought forth Eber. And after he brought forth Eber, Shelah lived 403 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Eber lived 34 years and brought forth Peleg. And after he brought forth Peleg, Eber lived 430 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Peleg lived 30 years and brought forth Reu. And after he brought forth Reu, Peleg lived 209 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Reu lived 32 years and brought forth Shug. We're going to call him Shrug. I know there's no H in there. Maybe we do Shug. We'll do Shug. Sorry. Hebrew. Yes, I struggle. And after he brought forth Shug, Reu lived 207 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Shirug lived, I guess that'd be Serug. There's no H in there. Sorry, I digress. In Shirug, we are 1122. In Shirug lived 30 years and brought forth Nahor, or Nahor, and brought forth Nahor. Shirug lived 200 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 29 years and brought forth Terah. And after he brought forth Terah, Nahor lived 119 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years and brought forth Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Ooh. We're starting to get some names that we recognize here. So Genesis 11:26. And Terah lived 70 years and brought forth Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And this is the genealogy of Terah. Terah brought forth Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran brought forth Lot. And Haran died before his father, Terah, in the land of his birth, in Ur-Kasdim. We're going to touch upon that a little bit later, Ur-Kasdim, because if I remember correctly, this is connected to Chaldea. And Abram and Nahor took wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarah, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and the father of Yishka. And Sarah was barren, she had no child. And Terah took his son Abram, and his grandson Lot, son of Haran, and his daughter-in-law Sarah. His son Abram's wife, and they went out with them from Ur-Kasdim to go out to the land of Canaan, and they came to Haran and dwelt there. And the days of Terah came to be 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. We're going to stop there because there's actually some of the genealogy is like going to be extremely important here. And let's go back. So what we're seeing here is Terah is bringing forth Abram. Abram is going to become very, very important, and there's some really cool stuff that is just extremely miraculous when it comes to Abram and Sarah. And I'm flipping in my other to see if I can find some better translations for some of the lands, because or Pakashad. See, when I use the other one, so the English, the Hebrew to English, the translation on my other Bible is a little bit better. It's better for phonetics. So, of the Chaldeans. Yes. So, thought I was right. So, little side note, my wife is Chaldean. My wife's genealogy goes back to the Chaldeans. Now, her family had moved to Iraq. Sorry, I almost said the other one. Her family lived in Iraq. They had gathered up and they left Iraq due to a grandfather, I believe, that helped get people out of Iraq to America. And this was a long, long time ago. So, well, not that long ago. However, my wife is of Chaldean descent. A lot of people will say Iraqi, but it's actually Chaldean. However, most people don't even know about Chaldea or Chaldean. So, little side note there. You share too much. Nah, not really. So, Abram technically is Chaldean. Now, a lot of people say he was Hebrew. Well, Hebrew means nomad. They were a nomadic people. But Abram was from Chaldea. Therefore, that would make him Chaldean from the line of Shem. And from the line of Shem, that's where we get the Semitic. The whole concept of Semitic comes out of Shem. So this concept of, oh, you're anti-Semitic, no, stop. Because the Semitic line comes out of Shem. Even as Gentiles being grafted into the tree of life, which is Israel, the people, not the nation state created in the 1940s or 30s, wherever. I don't have my dates with me right now. We are of Israel. We are grafted into that tree, to the tree of life. And we'll expound upon this more later on. So we also see that Lot's father had died. So Abram essentially takes on Lot as part of his, he brings him under his covering. And that gets to be a whole different rabbit hole. And we're not going to quite go there yet. Next week, we're going to pick up on from 12, because 12 is really, really fun, because yeah, and we have so much to touch upon 12. So hopefully, once again, I'd like to if you came in, hey, if this is the first one you're coming into, go back to the playlist. We go over Genesis 1 to this point. We're 1 through 11. Some we get doubles, some we get singles. But right here, this is my Bible, the scriptures from the Institute for Scriptural Research. And as I said, I really like this because it actually has the name of basically Yahweh. It's in the Hebrew, Yeshua. And I will use the term Yeshua. I don't necessarily like to use the term Jesus, Jesus. That's basically Greekified and Romified, and no. There is no J in Hebrew, therefore it is Yeshua or Yahshua. No one knows the real pronunciation, so let's not ruin fellowship over the proper naming, because in end times, I'm pretty darn sure he's going to say, hey, by the way, it's actually pronounced this way. And we're going to be, oh no, we're so sorry. He's like, nah, it's cool, bro. I got you. Hebrew's tough. So with that, I'm bringing this to end. I want you all to have a wonderfully blessed week. Any of you struggling out there, just bow your head, talk to Yah, talk to Yeshua, and with all that good stuff. And with that, why don't we close with a little prayer? Good morning, Father Yah. Thank you for allowing us to wake upon this day and to be your hands and feet on the face of this earth. Let those of you that can hear this, let the Ruach HaKodesh give them comfort and blessings. Let it fill their being with wholeness and with shalom, calmness, and peace. If there is anyone out there hurting and that needs to be healed, let your will be done, and allow shalom to come over them in their time of need. And may they find you and talk to you and welcome you into their lives. May you place a hedge of a protection around us so no weapon formed against us may prosper. If there is anything not of you or of us, we command it to flee in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. We humbly ask this in Yeshua's name. Amen. All right, folks, and we will go with that. And you have a blessed week. Shalom.